All right. So today we are starting this new book, Complete Works of Ramchandra, Volume 2. Ramchandra is the name of Babuji, and Babuji is his sort of title or alias name, which people used to call him in the village. Like I said many times, Babuji means who is a junior clerk who maintains the records in a government office. That's what Babuji means, in especially in the North India. And so the entire village called him Babuji by his profession, right? So, and today we are going to read a topic which is very dear to me. So this is originally published as a book called Voice Real, and then all of these are collated as complete works. So the Voice Real comes under the complete works of Volume 2. And prior to Spiritual Anatomy, we completed Volume 1. So now we are kind of going into the Volume 2 and the story of my anguish. The title doesn't sound great, but this is the real thing basically. You know, the it's very important to understand why it is starting like this, and it's very important. If we understand this, I think we crossed half the bridge. And it's very essential to understand this idea, what Babuji really meant when he spoke about his anguish and pain, right? So, um, maybe we should start understanding the pain first, the word pain, and then it makes very, a better sense when we read this book, correct? So, I'll start with the story, maybe, for everyone to kind of understand. So there is a story of Surdas. There is many versions of this story. Original name was Bilva Mangal. Uh, so this, he lives in a village close to the Ganges, and then he meets a girl who is a prostitute, very beautiful. And as soon as, on the first glance, he falls deeply in love with her. And he cannot, pass a day without seeing her. His love for her was so deep. And then one day, his father passes away, and he takes care of the rituals, and then he goes to this lady or the girl, Chintamani. And then Chintamani says, today is, you should supposed to be mourning, and why are you here? He says, I cannot live without seeing you. It's like it's like as if it takes my life away without seeing you. See, here, it's a pain. It's not suffering. It's a pain of love. It's a pain, which surpasses all the joy and the bliss. And you will also hear to see his beloved, correct? And then later, one day there's a huge storm. He has to cross the river every time he has to meet her. and the river is flooded. He holds on to a log. He crosses the river. And then when he reaches her house because of the storm, it's a big house. He climbs to the rooftop or the balcony holding a rope, and he goes inside. And he sees the Chintamani, and Chintamani says, "Why did you come in such a, stormy night? And how did you come? How did you cross the Ganges? Because it's flooding." And then he says, "I held on to a log, and then you left a rope for me. I climbed using the rope." I said, "I did not leave any rope." When they go outside and see, it was not a rope, it was a python. And then when they go to the Ganges, and it was not a log, it was a corpse. And Chintamani says, "If you had even iota of the love for the God, what you are showing to me, you would have achieved the purpose of your life." And then and there, he sort of recognizes that he is held on to something which is, he kind of realizes it's more of an infatuation than a love. And then he becomes a great devotee. And then, he writes many poetry books. He becomes a saint. But that's a story. But if you see his journey of pain, it was not suffering. It was, you cannot say it is joy. Being away from the beloved is the kind of appears to be the most painful thing. And we all have gone through at some level, right? And then look at Jesus on the cross. He cries loud, you know, "Eloi, Eloi, sabachthani." Oh God, why have you forsaken me? And he was the pain he is getting through the torture is nothing compared to the separation he is feeling from the Lord, from his Father. So you see, this sort of pain has no parallels because you know your beloved through your heart, and you're longing that union with the Lord, right? So that's the kind of pain what Babuji is talking about in this article, right? I mean, I can go on giving you examples. Khalil Gibran, I don't know how many of you got a chance to read Khalil Gibran. In his book called Prophet, he writes about pain. And the simile he uses there, a seed burning in the sun breaks, destroys itself to become a plant. So it's the pain it is going through to become that. So it is something, any creative thing, any something which needs to be valued so dearly through the heart, it has to, in some way, has to go through this, what should I say, pain to bring something. Even the labor pains, every animal which is giving a birth goes through. Even the baby goes through the lot of pain to come out, right? So, in any creation, there is a pain. It is not of the physical. I mean, it is somewhat physical in this case of birth, but there's an internal, there is an anguish to make it happen, right? So if you see, I mean, if you are listening to most of the old Indian songs, you will see that all love songs are filled with pain. There was not any happy love song, okay, right? So today morning, as soon as I got up, sometimes I listen to some music, and then randomly I pick one. And this morning I was listening to this song, very old Mukesh song. you know, ख्यालों में किसी के इस तरह आया नहीं करते and आके तड़पाया नहीं करते means the translation is don't keep coming into my thoughts and torment me. So this torment is of love. So this pain we are talking about here is not suffering. This pain, you want to go through it again and again and again. And there is also another, Jagjit Singh Ghazal, which Chariji used to quote, you know, my beloved is close to my heart, but even that small distance is very unbearable because, that you love so dearly, you want to become one with it. You cannot have any separation with it, right? So that's why, when Babuji talks about Lalaji, he's not referring to Lalaji as a person, his guru, his mentor. He never think that he's, people say, oh, he was so much in love with his guru. It is not the guru who is in love with. It is that guru's condition he was attracted to. And he wants to become that condition. That is the union we are talking about. Here it is not about anything at the physical level, not even at the mental level. It's the deeper divine condition of his guru he is feeling in his heart, and he want to complete it. So in anything we are looking for that closure, that completion. Until that completion comes, what we want to become, it becomes a process of this pain, longingness, craving, right? That's the pain which Babuji is talking about. And that's the pain he went through to meet his beloved, not in person, but in condition. Correct? It's the condition which he spoke about all the time. And unless we get attracted to this condition, and recently I answered someone about this constant remembrance. When we hit on, the material problems, the transactional problems of this world, suddenly we constantly think about it. And here, because it is not anything of love, this transactional world, it gives us suffering. So the pain we go through in the transactional world is suffering. But yet, we are constantly thinking about it because we want to have a closure to that problem. Now, here, when this condition appears to us, if we really understand the value of that condition through the transmission in our meditation, then we cannot be separated from it. So, the longingness to be in that condition should create that pain and anguish so that we become complete one with it. So that's the spiritual journey. Here, everyone talks about, I have so much, my mind is ranting crazy. I want peace. I want peace. We come here for peace. But the real thing should happen is the longingness and the craving and the pain. Here, it is not suffering, right? So that is the article we are going to read. And I'm really glad that Babuji has put this article. He wrote it. I mean, he basically expressed himself, what he's going through or what he has gone through. And to me, this is my most favorite topic of Babuji's writings. He basically expressed everything, you know. So, so I would recommend read Khalil Gibran's poem on pain. Very deep, very touching. I don't want to go through it on this call for the sake of time. So before I start reading, I'll stop here for any comments or questions. All right, everyone is quiet.
I guess I have a question.
Sure.
Where can you download Volume 2 from?
In the HFN store, I can send you the link. There is a digital copy available. You can download it. It's like maybe like few dollars, not very expensive. I'll send you.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's go into the topic. All of my period of abhyas means practice, paused on in painful restlessness in place of peace and calmness, which everyone craves for. So, my pain. Everyone has his own story of pain and sorrow. I too have mine, but that is of a different nature. When fortune favored me, I got access to my master's feet and submitted myself entirely to his will. In fact, Babaji said, it is very fortunate that he met Lalaji. But had he met anyone else, he would have given himself to anyone else and any other guru because it was his intrinsic nature. So that basically shows the quality of Babuji. So soon I developed a peculiar state of mind which continued for a considerable period of time. After that, I developed a feeling of impatience in me which is persisted. It soon developed into a sort of restlessness and pain. After a time, the pangs of it had aggravated so much that if anybody else, not in touch with spirituality, had he might have been inclined to commit suicide. But the feeling, let thy will be done, which was deeply rooted in me, gave me courage and consolation to bear it. So, I mean, he's describing that longingness so much, it is almost consuming him completely. See, this is the thing about spirituality, like people say we are spiritual as if they are very content about it. The contentment means it brings closure to it. That means there is nothing to look forward, right? So here, when I have that deep condition, samadhi or whatever you want to call it, and everyone will have it in their first meditation, trust me. It is not that you have to practice years and years to get there. It happens in your first meditation, but we don't notice it. Slowly it unfolds for it. But as it unfolds, if we kind of pay little attention to it, then you will develop this restlessness because you want to see the closure of it. That's the nature of any human mind. It is always seeking that closure. All the passion, frustration, tension, everything we are going in our life is because the feeling of incompleteness inside. That incompleteness because it is longing for something and we are feeding something else to it. It's like if you are thirsty, take Coke, for example. It gives you a feeling that your thirst is quenched, but in a minute again you feel thirsty. Finally, when you go for water, when you take water, then your thirst is quenched. Means We have to feed the right thing for the right type of craving. So that inner completeness is because whether we like it or not, whether we believe it in or not, we are seeking that complete union with the beloved, the higher, the essence, the God. And unless that union is complete, that incompleteness will not go away. Even the most successful people who have led, who has got all the success, all the money, all the luxuries, towards the end, they were not happy. They feel something is missing because they never have gone to this condition and experienced it. They never received this transmission to know the real thing to quench their thirst. So the transmission is the real thing. Once we get in touch with it, there is no way for us to let it go because we know in our deep in our hearts that is the thing which is quenching that incomplete feeling in our hearts. So it is important to recognize and see how fortunate we are. Somehow we stumbled into it without our knowledge. Something brought us here. So having, being here, make full use of it, right? So it's not asking for your commitment, devotion, or anything. Recognize this real thing within you and pursue it. It's for your own upliftment. Trust me, there is nothing much you cannot give for this organization. Whatever you give is peanuts. Okay. The real thing you can give for this organization is showing that development, spiritual development in your own life. That is the real contribution you can make for this organization. I've practiced it, I've gone through it. This is where I reached. When you say that, that is more than $1 trillion. Okay. So I had that pain, longing, craving, or restlessness, as one may be pleased to call it, so dear to my heart that for it. So it's so dear to my heart. So I could sacrifice even thousands of lives of mine for this. So he's talking about, that craving is so profound that he can sacrifice thousands of lives of his. I wish to have the same pain created in me again, which no joy or bliss can ever match. It had no parallel, and for it, one might be introduced to forego even the bliss of paradise. I fear people might be led away to misunderstand it as a fit of lunacy. But, dear brethren, all that a hungry man wants is a loaf, and my entire structure was built upon it that way. For this reason, I eagerly wish this pain was created in you all, which shall be the source of satisfaction to me as well. Does it not thus become a part of your duty to see that I am satisfied in this respect? If one has got even an iota of devotion in him, he will feel naturally induced to take up what may promise me peace and consolation. After all my life's toil and unrest, it is of the primary duties of sadhaka, means practicant. So here I'll stop. But see, the thing is, in all our scriptures, whether it's religion or non-religion, there is so many umpteen stories of miracles, umpteen stories of great things, grandeur things. Okay, there is so much exaggeration, but aggrandizement. But none of these texts ever spoke about a spiritual condition. It is almost became foreign. Unfortunately, that should have been the real thing, but it has become foreign. So then we are kind of caught up with mere words, intellectually presenting it, intellectually manipulating it, and emotionally we are creating something we call it devotion, but there is no real essence or condition behind it, and which always left us incomplete. But here comes, heartfulness, which is offering you these only conditions: no intellectualization, no throwing words at you, no manipulation, nothing. It's pure essence. We just close our eyes and meditate and experience. And everyone can experience regardless of their cultural or whatever the background may be. It is not refused for anyone. Everyone can come and experience it. So that's the beauty, and that is the journey we are embarking on in this book. So I'll stop here for any last comments and questions, and then we can get into meditation.